What do we got here?
What I have here is an original teletype from the Kennedy assassination.
Okay.
That I printed off in the newsroom.
Wow.
I came down to the pawn shop today to try to sell my John F. Kennedy assassination teletype. I'm hoping to get about $750. It was sitting in a folder. It wasn't being used. I figured make a little money off of it.
Where'd you get it?
I actually found this in an antique store in Iowa when I was driving. The teletype says first bulletin matter, Dallas. The priest came out of the ward approximately 1:37 p.m. It says flash, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m.
Corey, there's always a few moments in your life that you'll remember the rest of your life. I was home on leave. We were fixing to go out to eat lunch. And when that came over, I don't even think we ever ate that day again.
The assassination of JFK was one of the most tragic events of the 20th century, and people who lived through it will never forget. I mean, it definitely appears to be authentic. It's on the right style of paper. How much are you looking to get out of it?
I did have an appraisal a few years ago. It was $1,000, and because there weren't that many probably
A
surviving.
few years ago, it was probably worth $1,000. In today's economy, it's not.
I'd give you around $300 for it.
Could you do $450? Because it is unique. There's not.
It's unique, I agree, but $450's just a little bit too much. I'll push it up to $350, but I ain't going no higher than that.
You think you could do $4?
You gotta realize I'm gonna get about $800 out of it.
That's on a good day, $6 on a bad.
I gotta get it framed. It's kind of hard to display a binder.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the $350 then.
Sounds good, boss.
I appreciate it. $350 is a little less than I wanted, but it is more than I paid for it. And now that gives me a little more money. I can go do some more antiquing.
What do we have here? Well, obviously we have a newspaper, but...
Yeah, I got a 1905 Chicago Daily Tribune. It talks about President Roosevelt renewing his war on foul football.
Well, I mean, basically football was like a blood sport. Whatever it was just to get the ball from one end to the other.
Right.
And back then, by the way, a ball was a inflated pig's bladder.
Oh. I have a 1905 Chicago Tribune, which talks about President Roosevelt's war on foul football. I'm asking for $800 on the newspaper, but I will go as low as $250. I need to sell this newspaper because they're just piling up in my house, and my wife is sick of it.
It's pretty cool. Do you know much about the history of football back then?
Back then, there was a movement to actually ban football because of the brutality.
It was nothing like the game we see today. Punching, kicking, kneeing, and everything else.
Yeah.
Almost every week you'd read it in the newspaper that during football season, a kid had died playing football. Teddy Roosevelt's son got really badly hurt playing for Harvard, but there was a lot of money being made in football. So it wasn't going to get changed unless Teddy Roosevelt did something about it. He went in there and says, hey, we need to change this more into a gentleman's sport than a bloodbath. It looks like your standard newspaper from 1905. Newsprint is really, really inexpensive. It's acidic. It's basically the two-headed snake. It eats itself. And 50 years from now, I doubt if it'll even still be in one piece. So how much you want for this thing?
I'm actually asking $800.
It's not worth nearly that. Newspapers from this time period are probably like $25. You might be able to get 50 because it has football on the front of it.
I mean, it is President Roosevelt. Don't you think there's only, a handful of these out there?
If you read old newspapers from back then, there was an article about the president every day in the paper. So I'll offer you $20.
No, yeah,
Okay.
that's just...
I understand why it's a cool headline, but it's not a great headline.
But thanks for looking at it, yeah.
All right, thanks for coming in. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Need stories.
All right, thank you.
I was going to play professional football, but then I decided to be a pawnbroker. Worked out for me.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing well. What do we got?
A newspaper, Dewey Defeats Truman. As we all know, this was a misprint.
Whoever did that probably got his ass chewed out.
I'm sure they did. I came to the pawn shop today to sell a Dewey Defeats Truman newspaper from the Chicago Tribune. The reason why I want to sell it is I think it's a valuable piece of history that somebody may be interested in. I think it's worth several thousand, and that's what I'm looking to get for it. This is an original paper from November 3rd, 1948. My father owned a newsstand, and he kept this.
What had happened was Dewey was ahead in the popular vote, and they were in such a rush to be the first newspaper out that said Dewey Defeats Truman. They blasted him right out. Back in 1948, everybody thought Thomas Dewey would beat Harry Truman in a landslide. So the Chicago Tribune went ahead and printed his victory before the results were even in. It's one of the biggest screw-ups in the history of journalism.
What I found really interesting is obviously the headline and then the typesetting that's upside down.
Back in the day, papers was all hand set, and you always had the human error in there. There's always a market for presidential collectibles. Harry Truman holding up this newspaper is one of the most iconic images of the 20th century.
So what'd you want to do with it? Did you want to pawn it or sell it or?
Sell it. I know there's only 12 in the whole United States.
I'd beg to differ strongly.
Oh,
in 1948, this was a big deal. And everybody that got this newspaper with this headline held on to it. No one threw that away. So I'd make you an offer somewhere around $45.
Are you kidding?
Not at all.
Well, I've had an offer for $1,000.
Run as fast as you can and get it. Please do. I'm withdrawing my offer.
Well, and the reason why, he's from Chicago, so this means a lot to him.
Sentimental value could be worth more
Well, that's
sometimes. Take it to him, sell it to him, get your $1,000, buy something nice with it.
Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you. I thought the offer was really lowballing it. I have other parties interested in it that are history buffs, so I will pursue those avenues.
Hey, what's up, man? What do we got?
Well, I got something kind of unique. When I was in college, a professor had this on his office door, and he was trying to recruit students into his class, and it really caught my attention. I was told that this was an original Doonesbury sketch.
That's pretty cool. He's actually Doonesbury, right?
Correct.
Okay, and I'm assuming that if he drew it for the professor, then this might be what he looked like?
I don't remember.
Okay.
My Doonesbury rendering is pretty unique because it was hanging on a college professor's office door. The professor had a relationship with the cartoonist Gary Trudeau. I'd love to get $200 for it. I think it's time to find a new home for it.
The comic's about a guy named Mike Doonesbury. I always thought it was kind of cool that he kind of aged as the cartoon, got older. He started off as, a college student, and then, now he's like a grumpy senior citizen, right?
Probably so.
Just one of those things where you can't open up a Sunday paper and it not be there. I mean, it's a staple of the comics page in just about every newspaper in the world.
It is.
Doonesbury might not be as recognizable as Far Side and Peanuts, but it's an important comic strip over the past 30 years. So I'd definitely be interested in owning an original sketch.
Any idea of what you're looking to get out of it?
But I'd take $200.
Okay. Why didn't he sign it?
I don't think it was ever meant for any kind of resale or publication.
It'd probably be worth $300-400 if he signed it. You know that? On the other hand, there's not really any shortage of Doonesbury cartoons out there. You take $150 for it?
$175, you got a deal.
All right, it's kind of cool. Right.
Awesome.
Come with me, we'll write it up.
Great. $175, it's a bird in the hand. I'll probably renew my season tickets for CSU Bakersfield basketball.
Hey, can I help you?
Yeah. What's in, see what you thought about it. This is from August 1918, exactly 100 years.
And it's, what is it?
New York Times newspapers, the full newspapers, picture sections, box scores, all sorts of things.
Do you have really big bookcases at your house?
I have a complete set of New York Times newspapers from the month of August of 1918. I got them in the early 80s, and I've had them ever since. If I'm able to make this sale today, I'm probably going to give it to my wife because she's going to Hawaii next month.
This is pretty cool. This is the New York Times. You gotta remember, this is 1918, and over 90% of the people in the world would never travel more than 50 miles from where they were born. There was no internet back then. So newspapers with picture sections like this was really fascinating to people because they got to see different parts of the world they would never get to see. Wow. The picture sections here are amazing. The libraries all around the country had an archives with bound newspapers like this. The ads, the articles, the business world, everything, it just really gives you an insight on how different the world is in just 100 years. It's made with inexpensive paper because it's not made to last,
And it costs 2 cents.
So how much do you want for this? Because I could just nerd out on this for hours on end.
I was hoping to get 500 for it.
You know, generally newspapers are worth next to nothing.
I know.
Okay. It is cool that you have a whole month of August. I'll give you $250.
250, huh?
I really have no idea if I'll ever be able to sell this, but I will probably peruse it for a few days.
How about 300?
How about 250? I think it's really, really neat. It's really cool to a nerd like me, and someone might pay me $400 for it if I'm lucky.
Right.
But that's if I'm lucky.
All right, you got a deal.
All right, sweet. I'll meet you right over there. We'll do some paperwork. I'll get you paid.
All right.
This is strictly a nerd purchase, but I can't help myself sometimes. So what do you got here?
I have something interesting for you. These are lobby cards, printing plates of the Howard Hughes, Jane Russell film, The Outlaw. The story of Jesse James.
My understanding of the movie was all about Jane Russell.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell my printing plates. I paid $30 for them. They're not my normal area of collecting, and I would rather take that money and buy other things that I do collect.
Where did you get these?
I picked these up at a little antique store. I saw Howard Hughes, yoink, and they were mine.
Yeah, Howard Hughes did a lot with movies.
He was a billionaire back in the 50s, son.
Oh, he was one of the richest men in the world. Towards his later years of his life, he became a recluse and was a little crazy.
I brought this along just as an example of the graphic that was used.
Sensation. Too startling to describe. Howard Hughes production, The Outlaw, starring Jane Russell.
This was her first big film. This is what made her a sex symbol because of the way her cleavage was portrayed. The Hollywood Production Code Association killed the film in 1943. Howard Hughes, who produced it, went to battle, and this was the first time anyone actually beat the Production Code Association, which makes it unusual. And these were for the re-release in '46.
Okay. There's actual rumors that Hughes wanted the movie pulled in '43 because it wasn't doing that well. Probably because all the men in this country were fighting overseas. So he just re-released it when the war was over. Pretty smart, I think.
These, based on their size, looked to me like they were lobby cards.
Do you have the rest of them?
No, just these two.
I'm assuming there's probably 3 color plates.
Okay.
Usually the lobby cards were colored,
Yeah.
even though the movie was in black and white. Remember, there was no television to advertise these things, and the lobby cards were basically what sold it. This one, for some reason, we have this whole thing cut out right here.
It's no longer there. I don't know if this was just for handling the plate, so you didn't get ink on your fingers.
That was set up for an insert, son, where you could use this plate with different lettering down here.
Sure, yeah.
You know what this could be? This might be for a newspaper. Because right in here was the movie theater times.
Could be.
So
That
this
would
was
make sense.
probably an ad for a newspaper. That would make it so this is black and white. There is only one plate.
And then the plates went with the movie to the next town.
That could certainly be.
Really interesting. Now here's the big question. What are they worth? I have no idea.
Me either.
All right, you don't know what they're worth. What do you want for them?
Well, we can.
No.
I was thinking, given the importance of the film, it's Howard Hughes, it's Jane Russell, all of that, $3,000 for the pair.
People collect lobby cards.
Right.
This is really cool, but can you really frame this and put it on a wall? I don't see $3,000. I just don't.
All right, what do you see?
I see like $300.
No. This hits a lot of collectors. This hits printing collectors. This hits movie collectors.
I've had a lot of printing plates come in here over the years, and the one I do get them, they just don't sell.
I'll tell you what. Here's the last shot at it. Okay, at 500, you get that.
No, I'd have to have both of them.
I'm sorry.
All right, well, have a nice day. Thanks for bringing them in, though.
I understand that there is a business and everyone has to make a profit, but I would just assume the profit wasn't made on me.
Hi. How can I help you?
I wanted to show you my newspaper picture acting machine. They would print the frames in the newspaper, and then you'd slide them into the little picture frames.
Animation has come a long way, hasn't it?
It sure has. I'm at the pawn shop today, and I'm trying to sell my newspaper picture acting machine. I believe it's made of tin, and it's
decorated with gold and red and black paint, and it has all but one of the animation frames still in it. I'm asking $1,000 for it based on the fact that I think it's pretty rare.
Okay, this is pretty cool. Newspaper acting picture machine. Came out in 1919, and you would have, you know, a bunch of different pictures on here, and you would spin the crank with a Rolodex style ring going around, and you would have placed pictures in the Rolodex, and you would turn this lever here, and as you would turn it, you would see an animated scene go through. This picture machine has 42 images, so I'm sure this scene literally is like a 2 or 3 second scene. And the cool thing about this is that you had to collect every single clip from the newspapers. So every morning when you woke up, you had to go to the comic section and cut that little clip out with a pair of scissors before, you know, your dad took the paper to work or threw it away or whatever. So there were some challenges in collecting all of the pictures. Does it work?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, can I try it out?
Sure.
Do you have all 42 pictures in here?
There is one frame missing.
All right, so it does still turn a little bit, but it's a little rough. The Rolodex does move around. It's very sticky, and I feel like if I tried to do it at the right pace, it might possibly break. Overall, it does have some wear and tear on it, some scratches, and a few little dings. This was something that probably was played with for a long time and not taken very good care of it. It is made out of tin, so it will scratch and ding easy. But overall, it's in decent condition as far as display purposes go. So what are you looking to do with it?
I'm trying to sell it today.
And how much are you looking to get for it?
I'd like $1,000.
You know, so if this thing was in perfect condition, not a scratch on it, not a ding on it, all the plates in there, it works beautifully, I can maybe, you know, start to talk about more than $500, $600, you know, maybe somewhere in that range. But as it sits right now in incomplete images, it doesn't really work when you turn this. Even though it does turn, it doesn't catch everything at the right speed, and it has a lot of little scratches on it. The most I could give you for it would be like $125.
That's too low for me today.
Okay, well, it's really cool. I appreciate you bringing it out, and thank you.
Thanks for taking a look at it. I pictured myself making a deal today, but maybe I can take it home and flip it somewhere else.